Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to some card talk with Tim, and then of course my lovely co-host Harry up here in the right-hand corner of our box.
What's happening, everyone? You alright?
What's going on, man? Tell us what's I know we talked a little bit before we started, but what's new in the world of Harry that you would like to tell the people?
Just, like music, getting in the studio tomorrow. I'm excited for that. Been preparing, streaming, just that. Not, bro, I wish I had more to report, but next time there'd be a lot.
So, I mean, what I just heard is that Harry's gonna go in the studio and put out some bangers, and everybody's gonna go check that out. So, I will make sure we have Harry's info whenever we can get it to check that out. And Harry was very nice. I've been doing some looking around for job stuff, so we're both on the grind, you know. But that's not going to stop us from talking about
my destiny.
so many things. Yeah, are not going to stop us from our destiny, and it's not going to stop us from taking some time out to talk to you good folks about all things Warpforge. And we've had so much going on. Even, just having this in the background, the Skulls event. This was an old article, so sorry about the timing. It is tomorrow that Skulls event will be happening. And I'm just going to scroll us over so that we can see that. Oh, got too many tabs. This is my problem. Okay. So basically, there's a huge event going on tomorrow, and as you may have noticed here, Warpforge is going to be featured on this event tomorrow for all of Warhammer 40k games that are getting some content updates, some new stuff coming. So, very exciting stuff.
That's wicked. That's wicked for Warpforge, though. They made it in the top 10, bruv.
I know, right? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, they made a little mention. Harry and I were talking about it of like watch the Skulls event to check out the future of Warpforge. So whether it's like a new roadmap maybe or some other extra content, we've got a whole faction dropping as of our recording tomorrow. It's crazy. I just put out my reveals video. Thank you for anyone who checked it out. There's just kind of a lot happening on this Thursday randomly, so pretty excited about that. But Warforge is getting a huge shout out here, and I think that's more positive stuff for the game. Potentially new content. I don't know. We'll see. I've seen some cool stuff out of Space Marine 2, so that's kind of exciting. At some point, I would love to play Rogue Trader. Ecclesiarch recommended that highly, so I do love an RPG, I will say, so that might have to be something I look into. Yeah, I mean, so that's happening tomorrow. We've had this big balance patch that came out. I've been playing definitely a bit more than I was last season, to be honest. When the tower taken over, I was getting a little tired of it.
Because of the Space Marines, that's why you've been playing, bro.
Look, Harry and I know it's about the Space Marines at the end of the day. The Tau may come in and try and convert us or whatever, but it's the flying boys in blue, that we're sticking with. So yeah, the Ultramarines are back in full swing. The Necrons are back in full swing. Lots of different builds out there. I put out 3 different builds, or 1 build for each Warlord this week for the Space Marines. I'm working on my Necron collection currently. Yeah, even with Necrons, Harry, I don't know if you saw this, but like Nemezer, like the guy who makes a unit, now those units have have Vanguard. So now there are there are 2/2s with Vanguard, and remnants do not die at the end of turn. That's just a static effect that Nemezer has now. Yeah, It's pretty spicy.
What?
There's legitimately like an aggro tempo Necron deck with Nemezer now, and you use Resurrection Orb and just get back all your guys, and you have like 4 Vanguard units on the board plus your
Oh
other stuff.
my god.
It's like a
I
go
think the
wide Nemezer deck. It's crazy.
But your remnants were really annoying to deal with, and now they don't go.
Nope. They just sit there unless you clear them.
What? So you're clearing them all the time? Whoa.
It's really why it just gives them more interesting stuff to do. You know, like there's Imatech, he's still doing his control stuff. There's Oricon with the Scarabs and whatever. But then Nemezer, fully new archetype basically for Necrons, which is super
Oh, that's
exciting.
cool though, because they've made maybe a character that was the least played out of the 2 warlords and made him playable.
Made him playable, and I would argue that it's still early because it's only been out for like a week or so, I guess, the patch, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it's very good. I think it's actually pretty.
That's cool. I'm going to check it out though. I will just be tomorrow, obviously, with the new things launching tomorrow. So you know
Yes.
I'm going to be on that leaderboard playing, bro.
Well, I'm gonna get us already started on this. Let me switch us over to. We're just gonna be going through some cards. Harry has not seen these cards yet. I have seen all of them. I don't know that I have my thoughts all together, but we are just gonna go through some Sisters of Battle, the Astarte, Sororitas, and just kind of get some live reactions from Harry. Just kind of go through some of the more interesting cards and. Yeah, just kind of talk shop. So, might as well just start with the Legendaries. We're not going to go through everything. I wish we could, but we'll do some Legendaries, maybe some Epics, and then go through some of the Warlords too, because I got to reveal the Legendary Warlord, which was pretty sick. It was the last card that was revealed. I put that right at the end of the video. So, very exciting stuff. But so we're going to kick it off here and just kind of, I think, talk about why we're excited for Sisters of Battle, the other Imperium, faction that's dropping tomorrow. So for, I guess it's Astrid Thurga. So it's a 5 energy, 6 health. When a friendly unit prays, and Harry and I were just talking about the keywords. So for those who haven't seen it, and I actually posted it in my video, exactly like as we were sent the information on the keywords. So pray means instead of attacking when you could attack, you can choose to pray, which means you can't attack and you get that effect that turn. So if we kind of go down, when a friendly unit prays, give it shield. So this is kind of like a warlord for praying, right? It's going to allow you, or like allow you to get a ton of advantage if you pray. Put the shield on, and then we'll talk about why that's important. But even for this card, if you choose not to attack with it, +1 health to all your units, including your warlord, right? So that's a pretty decent effect. Obviously, you're sacrificing attacking, right, when you do that. And then the other part of pray is that if you pray on your turn, and then they don't attack that unit on their turn, you get a faith point, or like a faith level, shall we say. So the reason that's important is because, like Spirit Stones for the Eldar, faith is going to allow you to do extra things, except the faith doesn't get used up. It's going to stay there, and you get to progressively make your faith level higher. So what do you think about this card, Harry? Based on what you know about the rules.
Too strong.
Okay.
This one's too strong. I don't know. I need to play with Prey before I start. But
Sorry.
I'm gonna take this one.
We're here for the hot takes. Yeah.
Yeah. This one needs to go down to 5 health. Definitely needs to go down to 5 health. I think this one's insane.
It's big stats, great stat line, right? And then on top of it, you're getting this passive bonus of whenever anything prays gets shield. So let's say turn, on 3 energy or 4 energy, you've got a unit, you're like, oh, I really want this to pray, and I want to see if I can get a faith point. You drop this on that turn, and it's going to get the shield as well. We know how powerful shields are based off playing with the Tau. It's it's really good, and this includes itself, right? So when it prays, it's gonna get a shield, right? From
You know, 1 health to all your units does affect your Warlord. Because we know this
yes,
from Orcs.
does.
For there's now is 2 health to all your units hits your Warlord. That's going to hit your Warlord.
Yep.
It needs some setting up, though.
It definitely does, and you can answer it the turn it's played, right? Because like it doesn't get to pray when you play it, it doesn't get to attack when you play it, right? It has to live till the next turn.
But the unit you played the round before that prayed, and the unit before that, and the round before that prayed, can get a benefit from the shield.
Absolutely. So
if you've this one's mad. This one's crazy, bro.
This is for sure a legendary card. There's no question about that. Oh Lord! All right, let me switch this over. Sorry for the card size. These are, you know what? I know. I'm really sorry, y'all. It's. I'm pulling these right from the Discord. So actually, let me. I'll just read it for you. But it's very simple.
Yeah.
3 energy, Rite of Restoration. Choose a friendly troop that died this turn and deploy it. So you just killed my legendary that shields my whole board. Actually, it's back now for 3 energy.
I'm glad this is a legendary and you can only have one of them in your deck because Tears.
Yeah.
3 energy. Look, it's good, man. I can see both of them cards in every single deck.
Yeah.
That's like together forever. Them 2 cards, they are solid.
Yeah, I mean these are legendaries without a doubt. And I'm sorry if we're getting a little frame dropping here. I'm gonna close these tabs as I have them because I have a million open with these card images. All right, well I definitely want to talk about this card quite a bit. Hallowed Martyrs. Your Warlord gains penitence, and for those who don't know, this is whenever a unit takes any damage, whether it dies or lives, trigger this ability. So this is your Warlord gaining whenever your Warlord takes any damage, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. Now, before we get carried away, we've had quite a few cards come out that do something for the rest of the game, right? But the best ones are Scarboy, which heals you when you play it still and gives you armor, right? And then we have a new reworked Necron Immortal Pride that says 5 energy, you and your units get armor, but your Warlord gets permanent armor, and your stratagems cost 1 less. So there's always kind of like an and to the best cards. What you might not have seen, Harry, is that armored support, remember the 3 energy draft a vehicle?
Yeah.
Now it costs 4 energy, and it says for the rest of the game, your vehicles come in with 1 armor.
Oh.
So they reworked it. But here's the difference, right, between these, like the armor support and the Hallowed Martyrs reminds me of kind of the same problem. It's a tempo loss. Yes, it's 4 energy, but it only does one thing, right? And so when you have multiple armored supports in your deck, it's not great. So I think you only want to play 1. This is a legendary, right? Hallowed Martyrs. So you're only going to get to play 1. But the fact that it doesn't draw you a card or heal you or do something else, I think makes this card less powerful. However, it's still a really powerful effect because they got to kill you through your Warlord, right? So I don't know how to evaluate this card. I have to think it's pretty good though, still.
It's a hard one, man, because it seems good, but then like you said, bro, say you're getting hit like a lot by small things, then this is really good. But if you're getting hit by big things, like say there's an 8 on the board and it hit you once and you can't deal with it, then it's hit you twice. It's like you've only got 2 damage out of this, and it's random, so it's like it's not always hitting the Warlord. It's hitting like something. But if you've got loads of if there's like a zoo and there's loads of like the Necrons, like you were telling me before, the Remnant, and like you're getting attacked and it's doing one, an attack and it's doing one, like then yeah, it's really good. But you don't always have to play it because not all the time are you going 30 cards in, you know. So like you can have this one in your deck, and if the time arises and you can like, it's not like Starboy where like you want to play your Starboy ASAP. This you might not want to play ASAP because, do you know what I'm saying? Unless there is like loads of minions, then you're gonna play ASAP. But if not, you might. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I'm willing to go a little bit lower. Like, I think I would underrate this card than overrate it. But
yeah.
I think that Penitence as a mechanic is strong. And I take Ecclesiarch's word for it when he told me that in HHL they have Rage, I think, or something like that, where it's whenever something is damaged, it does something. And his take was that was just always like a ton of value because you have to clear units, you have to attack Warlords. So if they've got a secondary benefit from getting attacked, it's pretty good. So I think this card will be, you know, it is legendary. You're only going to play one of it. I agree with Harry. I don't think you're going to play it like every single game, but I think in some games, especially if they're slower, if we're in a more of a control meta too, or potentially it works better against aggro, to kind of whittle things down.
Yeah.
Could be pretty good, you know. So I'm interested to see how this kind of archetype of card, because they keep kind of returning to this. I'm interested to see how good that is. Onward, yeah, that was my face.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we got a 7 energy, 777. 7 health.
777.
It's quad sevens, jackpot.
That's my lucky number, bro. I want this in every deck, bro. This is going in every deck. I don't care if it's bad or good.
This is Harry's first wild card out the gate right here.
100%.
Flying, regeneration 2, which is interesting because we're not seeing regeneration like outside of Necrons at all, right? I think that's just Necrons. Rally, gain invulnerable until your next turn. So this thing is coming down. It's not attacking, doesn't have flank or anything like that, but you're not going to remove it because it's going to have invulnerability for a full turn cycle. So unless this thing is getting... Wait, no, I don't... Does destroy... Wow, this is...
Will of Grok will take that.
Will of Gork will Inspired Retribution also from the Ultramarines? Because it says destroy an enemy troop, right?
I don't think Inspired. I don't think... You know what?
I forget how invulnerability
I think it
reads.
will. I think it will.
I think it does. I think it does.
I think destroy is like... The invulnerability means it can't take damage.
Right, so it would die to...
Still hit it with spells, the spell won't do nothing.
It would die to no mucking about as well, right?
So, no mucking about takes this all day long.
Okay, so obviously this thing is terrifying if you can protect it, right? Or like make sure it doesn't die to some sort of removal. I will say this thing is just going to hit like a truck and not die. So I have to imagine that this is pretty strong, but like it's not as strong as something like Long Strike from the Tau, right? Which was like, it comes in on 8. Yes, it costs a lot, but it's going to kill like 2 enemy troops and leave behind like a crazy body. This is not on that level. Saint Celestine, although she is a saint, she is not quite what we have seen in some of the newer legendaries. Still a pretty scary card and will be really hard to deal with in certain matchups. And I kind of like that this isn't like turbo broken. It's just like a really good unit.
And the artwork's lovely.
Dude, the artwork, hats off. I mean, hats off to the Warpforge team in general. You guys do great work, but the art for this specific faction is really just like, I love it. Maybe it's just the aesthetic, but so Saint Celestine, pretty scary. Definitely there are workarounds, and apologies again. I know it's a little difficult to see, but Amalia Novena, 3 energy, 4 health, 3/3. Rally, deal damage to an enemy troop equal to your faith level. So you can set up your faith by praying on your turn and then having that unit not receive any damage the following turn. Right.
So this is a late game card then?
Yes. I think this is a like mid to late game, like you play that you double spell in like a turn. You play something else, you play this later in the game.
This says troop, so it can't hit your enemy warrior, warlord.
Just a removal for a troop.
Just a removal.
Yeah, I'm skeptical about this one, I will say.
You always need to remove troops though, so it's like...
You do. It's true.
You know what I'm saying? That you're always gonna have a troop to remove. There's never gonna be a time where your enemy's not gonna have a troop on the board.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, like it is pretty rare, and it's efficient for what it does when you play it later. And I guess the idea is like it's 3 energy, it's a decent body. You could run this out on 3 or 4 or 5 energy if you have maybe 1 or 2 faith level, and it's fine, right? It's not a powerful legendary. It's not gonna run away with the game, but it might be kind of like a glue kind of early mid game card where if you nab a 2 or 3 health enemy off of this and you get this unit, maybe you've kind of gotten your money's worth. But yeah, certainly not powerful from what I could tell, unless you have a deck that can reliably get its faith level extremely high, and like this is a guaranteed like 5, 6, 7 damage. We'll see. I'm not sure, but love the art. I think that's.
I like the artwork as well. I'm just thinking,
sick.
and then the deck is like.
All right, Harry. Let the jaw hit the floor here for this one. I know it's a little hard to see. And why did my little boxes go away? How did that happen? Okay.
5 energy on that.
Yes. All right. So 5 energy. Destroy the enemy troop with the highest attack of an effect we have not seen yet. But if you have 8 faith, destroy only all of their troops, enemy troops. One-sided Will of Gork if you have 8 faith.
And that's enemy troops. So that's not even Will of Gork.
No.
That like literally just sets you up for you to win next round.
Yeah, for any Magic players out there, this is a plague wind. You kill all of your opponent's stuff and keep on trucking. Now, we have to look at the floor and ceiling of this card, right? So the floor is you're paying 5 energy to kill their highest attack troop,
which is good.
It's like a potentially. Well,
it's the same as the Space Marines one, because you do use the Space Marine one on the highest attack troop.
You're trying to kill the best thing, right? So it kind of operates the same way.
Yeah.
But then the ceiling on this card is that
can you get to 8 faith? Is it easy?
That's the question. And I think the answer is that it's not easy, but it's likely more doable than we might think at first. And there are some cards that make it easier. And also, I'm not sure that we've seen every card, because usually they don't give us all the reveals. So I would keep your eye on this card. I think the floor of it is totally fine as a removal spell. And then the ceiling is like you win the game in most scenarios. So I think we got to keep our eye on that one. And that is the end of the Legendaries, at least for the Warlord. We'll get into that. But I think I wanted to at least cover maybe at least a few of these epics and kind of take a look at what this whole faction is about. So with the Death Cult Assassin, love the art, the swords, sick.
Oh, it's so
Camouflage, which is like a decent keyword. Penitence, deal 2 damage to a random enemy, 3/0/3. Now, I don't think this faction is going to have a great time against Ultramarines. right? Because they can really abuse through their best flanking units hitting people with their ranged attack, right? So you play an interceptor on 3 energy, kills this, no problem. You play the Inceptor Sergeant on 6 energy, kills this, no problem. No, it will trigger Penitence, right? So it'll get to deal 2 damage to a random enemy.
Damage, yeah.
But, you know, so this is kind of like sort of an aggressive, has a little bit of value.
This is an okay card.
It's not as bad as it looks, I think. And like, yes, you can take advantage of the range deficit pretty easily with some factions, but not every faction, right? You get matched up into Tyranids, for example. They're not taking this thing out terribly easy. Now, Gargoyle did get buffed. Now that thing has flank and it's 3 energy, and then you can add things to it. So that's a new tidbit for you, Harry. Yes, the Gargoyle that can swarm as well. It has flank now.
They needed it though. They needed it, bro. I'm not even going to argue with that.
Oh,
they needed it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So again, the floor of this card is like 3 energy, deal 2 damage to a random troop. The ceiling of this card is you get to bash face and then do that, right?
So if, say someone was to hit this, and leave it on 1 health, it does penance, so it does 2 damage to someone. This then can attack. Is penance when it receives damage, so it can attack for 3 damage, then do another 2, so you could possibly get 7.
Anytime it takes damage, it triggers.
So 7. And if you've got that legendary that gives health, you could buff this one's health and...
Yeah, it's kind of like the Stern Guard Sergeant of the Sisters of Battle.
But there's no prey though, so it's like there's no prey.
Yeah, I think this is fine. I think you probably want to have a build that can enable Penitence nicely, because there are cards, we won't have as many of them up for our review, but there are cards that trigger deal 1 damage to like all units, and so that would then also trigger this, right? So there's a little bit of support for this kind of like you're trading health and you're getting a benefit for it.
Well, there's going to be a penance deck and a prey deck. They're the 2.
Yeah, they're like the opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah.
Which is quite cool though.
Oh, it's. I think if
the design on it all is good. Yeah.
100%. And I think if you get 2 different archetypes out of 1 faction on release, you're doing a good job, right? If you get 2 or 3 warlords that have a defined role that are different from each other, and there's enough support for either one, that's a good design to me. And then if your 3rd warlord can kind of flex, great, you know. So Death Cult Assassin, again, I think I'm going to take Ecclesiarch at his word and say that these cards are a little bit better than we might think. And so we're going to take a pit stop here for the Relics of St. Catherine, which is just pay 5 energy to gain 4 faith. So we can see how the potentially the more like the slower deck or the more faith-based deck, right, for that legendary that has the board wipe, but it's only 1-sided. This is giving you half the faith that you need. It's 5 energy though, and it's not giving you anything else. No draw card, no heal, no deal damage to something, right? You are just passing the turn having not played anything on the board. What do you think, Harry?
I need to see the other faith cards before, because I've only seen like 1 faith card, I think. So
let's keep it moving here, because we'll definitely get to
I reckon it's
more.
good. I reckon it's going to be needed, isn't it, with a faith deck? I reckon.
I have to think that it will play some sort of role. Will it be good? Will it be broken? Probably not. But will it serve a decent role? I think so. So Preacher here actually has like a bunch of stuff stapled to it. So it's a 2 energy, 3 health, 2/1. So you're playing this, your first turn. It's got a talent, and which we'll go over what the talent is. But then it also says 5 faith. So if you draw this later, right, or you hit it, it gets shield. Right, so either whether it's on the board or you draw it later, if you hit 5 faith, gets a shield. Nice little bonus there. Makes sense with a talent card, right, which has to live to use the talent the next turn.
Yeah.
So here's the talent. Hymn of Battle. So it's ephemeral. Choose one, gain 1 faith. So it's giving you a faith for 3 energy. Draw a card or deploy a Crusader. And a Crusader is this, which is a 2 energy, 3 health Vanguard unit that also, if you have 3 faith, I guess when it's played, it gets armor 2. So there's a lot going on.
That's a lot going on for a 2 cost
For a 2
card,
energy
man.
card, yes. I feel like we've seen more of these 2 energy or 3 energy legendary or epics that like are doing quite a lot. And I think that's an interesting, like, I think putting some of the power in cheaper cards is something that I tend to prefer. But that's just because I like tempo and aggro and all that good stuff. So floor of this card, right? Floor of the epic is that you play a whatever kind of stat troop. But if it lives, you're getting 1 faith, and you're getting almost always you're going to pick to make a Crusader rather than draw a card. So you're essentially getting 2 bodies out of your 2 energy drop and a faith
2
level.
armor on this is insane.
Yeah.
2 armor on this is insane.
And it's going to give you your first faith point on your 3 energy turn. So it's really, if you can curve this into a 4, 5, 6 that are building towards that, I think it's pretty feasible by 7 or 8 with maybe a little bit of help, right? Essentially, you'll be able to play that Will of Gork legendary card, which is better than Will of Gork.
And you're going to pick and choose when you put that 2 drop down, because if you're playing against someone you know that it can live for a turn or 2, you're going to stick it down early. If you know that it's not going to live the turn, you ain't going to put it down, and you're going to put it down later. So it makes people think a little bit more on their plays, which I'm always down for. Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot happening, which I like. I like that we have a lot happening. So, again, sorry for the actual image being small. This is Ephrael, if I'm pronouncing that right, Stern. 6 energy, 6 health, 6 attack, 4 ranged. And that's Prey. Deal 1 to 3 damage with Camouflage.
So you have to hit into it. Prey 1 to 3 damage. Yeah.
It's I don't know about stuff like this. I think if this had penitence on it, where like when it takes damage it did something, that would be more attractive. Like, so Camouflage is like fine, right? So they're not going to be able to use removal to get rid of it. It's not that big of a threat. It's 6 health for 6 energy. So it has no defensive stats, right? No armor, no Vanguard, plus health, no nonsense. But it's 6 attack, 4 ranged attack, and then you can Prey with it to deal 1 to 3 damage. And I guess you can choose where that damage goes. So that could potentially trigger your penitence triggers on your own units potentially.
Yeah.
I really think we're going to have to get into the games and actually play these cards together to really see how powerful these kind of Prey effects are.
Yeah.
Because on paper, this feels kind of mediocre to me. But if it enables other good penitent effects and the Prey, like just praying in general, is good for your deck, good for accumulating faith potentially, then the card might be good. It might actually have quite a lot of value packed into it than we think.
Yeah.
But on its face as a unit, it's kind of whatever, I would say.
People are probably going to get this card and have to play with it in the beginning anyway, because you don't get all the cards at the start, do you? So
No. And it would be fine. It would totally be fine as a 6 drop for that. We'll keep on trucking here. We got miraculous feat, which I'm like, sort of excited. We'll see. Give invulnerable to a friendly unit this turn. If you have 5 faith, extend the effect until your next turn.
What?
Sorry, I was trying to like fake you out there a little bit, Harry.
Bro, this is Heroes.
Yes, it is, baby. It sure is, but you can actually choose a unit. You don't have to choose Warlord.
If you're dying, then you're always going to stick it on yourself. Bro, wait, so give invulnerable to a friendly unit this turn, so at the end of your turn you lose it. But if
Correct.
you've got 5, then you get it through the end of their turn. So like, mate, like you've got a big Vanguard unit. You put invulnerable on it, you attack with it, and then the next turn it's still got it, and it's like you attack with it again, and you've. Whoa, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
And it's an epic as well. You can have 2 of these.
You can. So this is where it's like, if you can accumulate faith even reasonably well, paying 3 energy to get that round of heroism, right? That 2 energy card that the Ultramarines have. But you can also opt to choose a unit that you want to live or kill something, right? You can put 2 of these in your deck, like Harry said, so you can have 2 of this effect. I think it's a bit of a winner. I think that this card, the floor of it is not great, but the ceiling is super high. Having 2 abilities to essentially negate your opponent's turn, attacking your Warlord or attacking a unit, is a pretty powerful card for anyone who plays Ultramarines.
Yeah.
You kind of already know that. But you get 2
That card is insane, yeah. But I don't know if you'd run 2 of these.
Yeah.
You might only need 1 of these because, like, you don't want too much inevitability in your deck.
No, and you also don't want like too many stratagems that just like essentially don't affect the board. I guess the emergency case for this is like you put it on your Warlord and you save your Warlord some health by attacking something. But like, so that's like the absolute floor of the card, right? Is like your Warlord gains 2 to 3, 4 health, whatever. But the ceiling is just like huge. So yeah, I could see this as just a one of, to your point, Harry. But if the faith, if people are praying in that church and you're getting that faith, everyone's having a great time singing the hymnals and all that stuff, maybe you want to play 2 of this card. I don't know. We'll see.
We've got to see the faith, haven't we? I've got faith in the faith.
That's what we want to hear, Harry. You got to have faith in the Imperium. So let me read this one as well. Sorry for the card image again. Beacon of Faith. Give +2 health to your units, 2 energy, but if you have 6 faith, you give them +1 ranged and +1 attack as well. So it's hard as nails, baseline. And then it gets the +1 melee, +1 ranged if you have 6 faith.
This is way better than Hard as Nails because a lot of the cards that the angels that they're playing in have that thing ability, so more health on them benefits them a lot more.
100%. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And I didn't realize that when I first was reading this card, because penitence is rewarding you for sticking around longer, as well as praying is, right? Health is actually such an important resource for this faction in a way that it's not for any other.
Yeah,
it's completely tied to the units sticking on the board and giving you like a ton of value, right? So what it kind of is like an interesting comparison to Tau, where Tau were packed with a bunch of front-loaded power, where they came in and they marker lighted something, they made a bunch of drones, right? Like they had all of that front-load power, Whereas Sisters of Battle are more like back end power, where if this thing lives, it might run away with the game, right? Um,
Yeah.
but in a way, that might be even more powerful than some of the effects that we already have, where it's like if Lieutenant Calcius lives, he's going to shred your Warlord,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
this might be
I
even
agree.
more so. So I think Harry's spot on here, and I think that this kind of card, although seems lackluster on its face, you have to think about the mechanics and how it's interacting with the rest of the faction. And I think this is going to be probably a staple card, definitely a staple card for the aggro penitence decks.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less so for the mid-range control, depending on how many stratagems they have to run. But I think that you don't want to overlook this card.
And I don't think the attack, the range, and the melee means much.
Yeah, it's definitely not
bonus.
essential. You know?
Yeah, it's not like, I don't think you're like, oh, I've got to wait till 6 to play this one.
No.
Yeah,
but it's gravy on the on the turkey leg.
Yeah, 100%. I like that card. I think it's good.
Okay, I think we have one or two more epics, and then we're just gonna probably wrap up by talking about the Warlords and just some closing thoughts. But thanks for hanging in here. Sorry again for the mini card. So this is Dialogus. Guess he likes to talk. I don't know. Given my very limited Latin that I took in high school. 4 energy, 5 health, 3/2. Pray. Give Vanguard to a friendly troop. What do you think, Harry?
I don't know, man. I don't think so, man. I don't think this one. Because you don't want your troops having Vanguard, because they're going to die quicker. You want them to be on the board as long as they can.
Yes.
Pestilence.
So I agree with what you're saying about that. I do think that vanguarding a tanky unit to protect your other ones that are praying to get your faith could be good.
Need to get your faith. Yeah.
Could be good. Here's the thing. I'm sold on penitence. I think that makes everything good. Yeah. I'm sold to a degree on praying because you can choose to do that. You can basically opt in for value or attack. I'm not sold on faith because it requires a ton of setup to me. But this guy makes that a little bit easier. Now, if we think about the stat line, 5 health for a 4-drop is about in line. Its other attack stats are pretty abysmal. But if this thing is living to then vanguard your 5-drop, that is maybe tanky and good or something, I don't know, has armor, whatever it is, maybe that's good enough because then maybe you've been able to enable your 3-drop prey or your 6-drop prey that's coming around the corner. I don't know. I think on its face it's like very mediocre, but it may enable what the deck needs in terms of Vanguard protecting the little churchgoers and their prayers. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to see with this one, I think.
Well, we'll definitely have to see. I think that is the name of the game. Okay, we've got Erica Luminos. So, again, we've got, I'm going to read this out. So it's 35 health, rare warlord. Pray, give +1 health to a friendly unit. So you can choose to attack with it, or you can choose to gift a health to a friend. We just talked about the value of health.
Yeah.
So pretty decent effect. Now, what does she do? Fury of the Righteous. This card looks sick. I'm sorry it's so tiny. Ephemeral. Deal 1 damage. So it's just ping something. But that also triggers your penitence, remember. But if you have 4 faith, deal 2 additional damage. So that's 3 damage for 2 energy.
She's good.
She's like, let me get those repenters. I'll hook them up,
Yeah,
with some
I think
damage.
she's all-rounder. She can do a lot.
Yeah, I think you're getting quite a bit actually out of this warlord. I also think just
Yeah.
the baseline of giving health to something is like a, but and you're not attacking, is like a totally fine trade-off. So I think as the starter warlord that we're all going to be playing with, right out the gate, I think it does some pretty solid stuff for the faction.
You couldn't really ask for more from a starter warlord.
My thoughts exactly. It plays right into, you want health and you want to be able to trigger your repentance, right? So it's like, you've got two of the three things, and it gets a bonus if you have 4 faith. So it kind of encapsulates all of the major mechanics.
Yeah, that's perfect starting. Yeah, that's the perfect starting one, I think. Yeah.
Well, we'll also talk about the epic here, which is Junith. And so her prey ability is going to be heal 1 to a friendly unit. So that's different, I'm realizing the wording. Heal means that the unit has to have taken damage.
Yeah.
So obviously you can heal yourself too, right? But I think it's her ability that is really wild. So let's go into that. And I know we have a couple cards here. So there's Lead the Righteous, which says deploy 2 energy, deploy a Battle Sister. And for those who may not have seen it, a Battle Sister, it's like a regular card. So this kind of reminds me of Madrell Galen in a way. It's giving you a 2 energy, 3 health unit that could pray to give itself +1/+1 on both of its attack stats permanently.
That's insane.
It's a lot of value.
That's insane, bro. But he's a small. He's got to pray to get his attack.
It does have to pray to get its attack. It does.
I think
It's kind of like giving. It's like Madrell in the sense that you're giving your opponent the option of like, you have to kill this unit, and if you don't kill it, it's going to be a bigger problem, right? And the fact that this has 3 health means that it's not always going to be clearable, right? And so in the situations in the matchups where they can't clear this unit, what you're getting is 2 energy. They hit this and take 1, and then you can choose to pray, which I think in a lot of cases is correct. So you make them have to clear it for the second round, and so this will deal basically on the floor like 3 damage total to the enemy warlord. But they've also had to sink 2 warlord attacks into it, if that's how they're going to clear it. And also my cat's
it costs 2 energy though.
It does cost 2 energy, yeah, to make this unit. And then, you know, so you can, but I think where there's like a crazy synergy, right, is that you can use your talent and attack, right? But you can also choose to use this talent and then heal yourself or heal your unit the following turn.
Oh yeah, you heal him.
Because pray is free, right? Pray just means that you can't attack. So
I think it's strong.
So the play pattern, right? I think in an ideal world, you make this thing, maybe heal yourself that turn, right? It's early game. They attack your sister of battle. You pray your sister of battle, you pray your warlord. It goes back up to 3 health, but now it's a 2-3-3. Or sorry, no, now it's a 2-3-2. Sorry, because you're taking it from 1 health up to 2 health. But we know we've got other ways of gaining health, right? So you can kind of see how this would snowball with just a little bit of health support, where it kind of reminds me of like Chaos in a way, where it's like, if you don't kill that thing with regeneration on it, it's never dying, right? It's just going to keep bashing your face and healing up. So you have to make sure on like a pivotal turn that you kill a Plague Marine that has a bunch of buffs on it. This kind of reminds me of that, where it's like all you need are a couple enablers to put health on a praying unit so that they can't finish it off, and then you get like a ton of value out of it. Hey folks, this is Present Tim coming in here. Unfortunately, we had a ton of technical issues for this video, but I hope it still helpful enough. That's why I wanted to put it out there, and Harry and I talked about it. We may make a follow-up video, so check that out probably this weekend. But I wanted to try and get this out there so that y'all had a bit of our thoughts, and it was just such a fun episode to make. So just to finish things off, unfortunately, we lost the footage where we talked about Morven Vol. I think Harry and I are on the same page. Seems like a pretty powerful warlord overall. Deal 1 damage, right? Pray plays right into Repentance. It's got 40 health, and then you can actually buff it if you need it to clear the board, or you can just buff your units and continue to pray with Righteous Repugnance. So all the warlords feel like they're playing kind of the exact role that you need them to. I'm really interested to see which one is better. I feel like it's a bit closer with these three. I could be wrong about that, but I think my take is that all of them seem, fairly competitive so far. So I'm just really interested to see, who kind of comes out ahead. So just to kind of close things up, and thank you so much for sticking with the video, sticking with the channel. There's like so much stuff going on. That's also why we wanted to get this out as soon as possible. So we've obviously got, if you had not heard it in the beginning, Sisters of Battle dropping very soon into Warpforge. And then there's also the Skulls Showcase, which is starting tomorrow. Just put up some of the different time zones. You can find all of that information if you just search that for the Skulls Showcase. I am beyond excited to hear about more of the future of this game. The fact that Warpforge is, even a part of the roster for this whole showcase is, I think, a very hopeful note. So I will leave you with some faith, some hope, some prayers, all that good stuff. We're all going to be going to church this month, I guess, or if you're not, I guess, we'll see you in the penitence like machine where you strap the heretics to it. So either way, thanks so much, and as always, we'll catch you in the next video.